So I've been using my bank's internet banking platform for some time now, and there have been a couple of issues that I've noticed over the period of using it. I've never actually thought to try to fix them because I'm not on their team, I'm not getting paid, there's not really a benefit to me. But since I'm a YouTuber and I'm a designer, I decided this could be a cool project to work on to showcase my design process and how I'd go about redesigning a product and a complex problem like a banking dashboard. The goal is to focus on core functionalities, like maybe 2 or 3 core functionalities that I feel the app might be lacking in, or I feel like bug me when I use it. I go through my whole process from auditing what exists now to a bit of research using myself as a target, and then wireframing, searching for inspiration, and then also creating higher fidelity designs and prototyping. I just want to remind us that not every product audit has to focus on the UI design or the visual design. Some products or the issues you might have to fix in some product might be more functional than they are in relation to like the UI. Because for this app or for this internet banking platform in particular, there are some issues that I feel have to do more with load times and more engineering focused work. And when you're doing an audit, it will be a good idea to bring stuff like that up so that the engineers can also fix those. For this series, we are focusing mainly on the UI and the UX. So I'm showing this sign-in screen or this sign-in page to make one important point, which is don't start here. I made this mistake, and I've seen others also make this mistake where we want to do things in the particular order, where we start from onboarding and then we go to signing out, or like from onboarding to account settings and stuff like that. It's not all the time that you have to follow a particular process. Like, you can mix and match things. It's much better to go right into the meat of the project and start ideating and talking through how to actually solve the problem that the product says it's going to. One of the main things that stand out to me is there's a lot of space. There's a lot of space that we can use. That could be one because of my screen, but it could also be because of the layout. Overall, this is clean. It's easy for you to focus on menu items that I guess are high priority. Notifications, pay, buy, prepaid. And then there's also a menu at the top, and there's an option to sign out. And then you have the different account types that the user might have. This looks simple enough and easy enough to understand. But the question now is this enough for me as an account holder? Anytime I open this, like, does this serve all of my needs? And I feel yes, it does serve some of my needs. But because of the layout, there are a couple of things that I didn't even know existed until like I was actually taking screenshots, and I noticed the menu is something I mostly overlooked. I never click on it because it's collapsed. So I was thinking, can we show the menu outright without somebody having to click? Because it does seem like we have enough space to work with. The idea of showing recent transactions is a great idea. I don't know if it shows based on the account you make a recent transaction or not, if it's just a particular order, but this got me thinking, okay, is there a way we could also show this recent transactions for the other accounts that you have? Is there any other key information that we might want to show people? Like, normally when I go onto this app, one of the things I want to do is to make a transfer, which is normally to myself or to specific people. So would it be a good idea to add like an easy way to transfer to those people? Those are like the 2 main things that I felt could be improved on the page. Then when you actually click on the menu, these are the items that show up. Like I said, I haven't actually clicked on this menu until saying I wanted to do this video. It might not be an issue if there isn't any key action that the bank needs you to do there, but I feel like hiding this menu is not the best. If it's important and if we have this much space to work with, why not just show it outright? With some of the things that are in the list, I feel like we could consolidate them or group them together in a way. Besides just showing the menu outright, I was thinking the links that are showing at the top, like I said, I never really pay attention to them because, I just don't notice them. We could move those also into the menu so that it's still accessible, but we create more space by just shifting those into a sidebar. And considering how the app works currently, it automatically signs you out after a couple of minutes, or if you close the page and open it again, you're already signed out. So I was wondering if we could deprioritize the position of the sign out, because right now it's just always going to be in your face. And like I said, there's a lot of space that we have on this page that I feel like we could use a lot better. So that's something else that we could also work on. So that's the first screen I'll work on, which is the dashboard. So next step is starting to wireframe a couple of ideas or a couple of ways I feel like we could lay out the content here. So after wireframing my rough ideas of like the page structure, I moved on to creating higher fidelity designs based off these wireframes. So I just looked through the different ideas that I had and I picked one that I felt like was a good direction to follow. So here are a few places that I like to go to find inspiration when I'm working on projects. Some of them are free, some of them are paid, and I have ways I go about picking like what I'm going to use as a reference. If you like me to go a lot deeper into finding inspiration and the strategies I use to find inspiration, you can leave that in the comment below, and then I'll work on a video around. Here were a few screens that I picked as references for when I get to the higher fidelity stage. For the high fidelity designs, I started off with the sidebar. The goal here was to try and stay as close as possible to the initial design so the engineering team didn't have too much of a lift if they were to implement these designs. It's always a good idea to stay as close as possible to the original so that it doesn't prolong the development time. I explored a few color palettes that I felt could work and a few color palettes that you could use to separate the page content and the sidebar. Then I moved on to working on the cards and experimenting initially with some flat cards, like just plain colored cards. As I went on more and more, I decided to try out imagery, mainly trying to distinguish the different types of accounts a person has. As I kept on iterating, I felt it could make it a lot clearer what the different account types are. So I thought, why not introduce like some iconography to make it obvious this is a savings account, this is an investment account, just making it a lot clearer the type of account the account holder has opened. From the initial designs, the transactions were only shown for, I think, the most recent accounts that you use to make a transaction. But I felt we could make this work for all the accounts that you have because I'd like to be able to just open a dashboard and then see all my recent transactions. Besides showing the recent transactions, I also thought about making it a lot easier to filter the type of transaction I'd like to see. Instead of just seeing all transactions, including transfers, payments, deposits, I decided to try out putting in a filtering by whether it's a payment that's made, whether it's a deposit, whether it's that you received money, whether you made a withdrawal, so that it's a lot easier to filter down what you're looking at in that moment. Then I moved on to working on the recent beneficiary section. It focuses mainly on showing you accounts that you recently made a transfer to so that you could easily select and make a transfer again, as opposed to going through the whole process of making a transfer or creating a new beneficiary. Then finally, instead of having a buy prepaid option, I decided why not move all the sub actions in that buy prepaid experience onto the main dashboard and showcase them. So like paying for bills, buying airtime, buying data, and stuff like that. And so here's what the original design looked like, and here are some of the issues I initially had. So for the final design, here's what I came up with. So I introduced some icons to make it a lot clearer what some of these links do, in case just the text isn't sufficient. So for the cards, the main goal was to just make it look a little bit more interesting. But as I went down creating a bunch of iterations of this, I realized one issue that I had, which was my payments always showing anytime I open the app. And that's why I introduced the eye icon to hide and show my account balance only when I want to see it. Then I added on the transactions page to showcase all the different transactions that I might have and give people an option to filter down the transactions they see on their dashboard. And finally, adding on the recent beneficiary section so you could easily choose a beneficiary you just sent money to and make another transaction without having to go through the whole flow again. So that's all I have for the first redesign. Next up, I'll be working on the accounts page to try and improve what it looks like when you click on any of the cards that were laid out at the top.